All right. Are we here? All right. I think we are. Hold on. Let me just, I was running around. I had a whole bunch of stuff that I had to do here. Yeah. Yeah, you heard me, but I wasn't using the proper microphone. I had to reboot everything as we had a slight power failure last night. Um, I woke up and my microwave was flashing and all that kind of stuff. Hold on a second. I got to redo this camera. The camera just went off. Hold on. Sorry. I had to reboot everything. There we go. Is that working? All right. There we go. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Leslie. All right. Let's get started here. I had to reboot everything. Actually, I had to reboot everything at like 11:58 because I sat down and I went, oh shit, that's right. The power went out last night. I better make sure everything's working. So I had to do all of that kind of stuff. I'm trying to see, did we get all of our channels? Why is the chat room so low in attendance right now? It is normally not this low in attendance. Did I do something wrong? Do you hate me? I don't know. All right, it's all right. We'll get moving anyway. Let's see, is everything right now? Make sure all my buttons are in the proper place. Then we'll get started with today's show. Got a lot of stuff to do today on today's show. Got a lot of stuff to do on today's show. Hi, everybody. I'm Pugs Moran, and welcome to Pugs & Company Presents High Noon on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. It is the first of two, not one, two separate streams that we do each and every day. The first one comes to you at noon right now, this incarnation of it. It's called High Noon, and we do topics, we do trends, we do current events, headlines, pop culture, whatever it is, anything that's going around in the world today that people are talking about and you need to know about, at least as far as I estimate. I'll give it to you here in little bite-sized morsels so that you can chew them up, spit them back out, and then you'll know a little something about what's going on in the world. Certainly it'll be filtered through my lens, but hey, that's why people tune in, right? I'm not a robot, people. I'm just me. Take it with a grain of salt. Also, 9 p.m. Central Time, we do something called Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk. What that is more conversational. It's me and James Parker. We talk about stuff, doing all that. Hi, John. John's in Toronto. John's always somewhere different. He's all over the place. Pugs and Parker is conversational. Pugs and Parker is sometimes ridiculous. That's all. That's all. This informative, utilitarian, Pugs and Parker, often mindless, and sometimes just plain silly. Okay, those are the two streams that we do each and every day here. Let me get rid of this. Just one second. Be right back. We'll hide that. Okay. Still not understanding, still not getting why the chat room seems to be so underpopulated right now. Let's see. Do we have, okay, so we've got the Facebook going. We've got the, is YouTube not going? Let me see. Hold on. Do we not have you? Is anybody watching on YouTube? Oh, no, we got people on YouTube, right? All right. Yeah. YouTube seems to be activated. Okay. All right. That's all right. We will muscle through because here's the deal today. Yesterday, I think I went to 240 or something like that. Typically, I promise that I'll try and give you at least 2 hours of this very show. Today, I don't know that I'm going to get to a full 2 hours. Not because I don't have the content, but honestly, there's not a whole lot of content. There's not. Kojak's here! Ladies and gentlemen, it's always nice to see Kojak. Kojak's in the house. It's I just got a lot of running around to do today. I got a lot of stuff going on. My kid is coming for the weekend, so I gotta go shopping. I gotta do stuff around the house. And here's the other thing. I'm not entirely sure that we're gonna do a Pugs and Parker pillow talk tonight. I don't know. I may have something else going on tonight. I may be, however, I was thinking, and maybe I could reach out to her, except I don't know what is the proper way to do this. I don't know, Pugs, you're Mr. Advice Guy. Maybe you should figure it out. So here's the thing. I am sort of interested. Somebody brought up the idea of why don't you and Kelly, my former partner who joins us on Mondays for Kelly Moore Mondays here on the stream, why don't you and Kelly do something tonight on the January 6th hearings? And I'm like, oh, that would be kind of fun. But you guys know I hate politics. You guys know I hate the divisive nature of all that. So I don't know. So I'm kind of kicking that around, but that wouldn't be at the normal time of 9 o'clock because I will not be available tonight at 9 o'clock. That much we know is for certain right now. I have made plans to do something else, and I'm not gonna tell you what that is. I'm not gonna tell you. A watch party. I'm involved. I'm involved in. I'm gonna go have some drinks and some pizza and hang out with some people, and we're gonna watch the thing tonight that's going to be on TV. But there is like an idea that I'm kicking around, and I'll have to deal with this after the show. I'll have to decide what my time schedule is going to be like maybe at 10 or 10:30 or something like that. Once I get home, then maybe Kelly and I will do something. I was also thinking, why not me and Kelly? And then I'll invite James because I wouldn't want to like not invite James. But how about me and Kelly, and then maybe we reach out to somebody who I think might have some really hot flamethrower opinions on this. What if I were to reach out to like Dick Hunter and get like me, Kelly, Dick Hunter, and Parker all doing like a January 6th thing recap? That could be fun. Like I'm thinking about, like that could be fun, but not for Parker. Like it won't be fun for James, and I don't want to put him in a bad position because. And I'm not even going to talk about it anymore. I don't know. It's a very tricky for a show and for a guy who is trying to do stuff that is not divisive yet still relevant in contemporary and breaking news. This is a very difficult evening for me to try and figure out how to do it because I don't have any interest in being political or talking politics or being divisive. Now, if my views and opinions happen to float out, they are never partisan because you guys know the right is a bunch of fucking ghouls. The left is a bunch of fucking weirdos. We're all somewhere in the middle. I can't handle it. So I don't know. It's a very difficult thing that I'm kind of working through today as to how to proceed with tonight. And because I'm a well-known quitter, I may just go, we're not going to do anything tonight. We'll just let this simmer. We'll let the eggheads and the partisan hacks handle this. But I don't know. There is something kind of fun. All right, I don't know. So stay tuned. Oh, by the way, here, let me hitch up with this. We do this. I got to put this up. Oh, the dog. You guys, the dog's being an asshole. Boom! There it is. You can help the show. You can generate, this is how we run the show. On your gratuities and your tips, you can help out in any of those ways. If you'd be so kind, that'd be great. This is the last week that we're going to pitch for tips. It's one of those PBS pledge drive kind of weeks. And then we're going to leave it alone for a while. Then we'll leave it alone. We did not make the budget last week or last month, so we are extending it to push for this week because, hey, that's just how this show goes. All right, let's get started. It's going to be a lighthearted show. Got to be a fun show. I have no interest in doing heavy shit today because, like I said, I'm very excited. My kid's coming back from his vacation, and then he's going to come hang out with me, and I have stuff to do, and I'm in a good mood. I'm a little bit worried that by like 10 o'clock tonight, I won't be in a good mood, but I'm in a good mood right now, so let's have some fun. It is high noon on the 9th day of June, year of our Lord 2022. June 9th, I'll have you know, is the 160th day of the year. There are 205 more days remaining until the end of the year. Let's check the National Day calendar to see what kind of nonsense today is all about. The National Day of calendar is supposed to tell us what we are to celebrate today or what we are to commemorate today. It's National Donald Duck Day. It's National June 9th, National Donald Duck Day. That's a national day. Ugh. I like Donald Duck. Okay. So let me go deep, not deep, but let me give you my quick little. I think Disney cartoons suck. Like I think they all suck. Even when I was a little kid, I was like, Mickey Mouse is dumb. Mickey Mouse is a pussy. I don't like Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse is, quite frankly, very Mickey Mouse. It's a Mickey Mouse cartoon. I don't like it. I didn't. He had no balls. He had no attitude. He was just, he was just Mickey Mouse. I didn't like him. That having been said, I like Donald. Donald had an edge to him. Donald was see, when I was a kid, it was like Mickey Mouse or Warner Brothers. So basically, it was a cage match between Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny. And are you kidding me? Bugs Bunny is one of the great comedians of our time. Bugs Bunny is brilliant. So there was absolutely no competition for me as a kid. Disney was for like, the weird paste eaters, and Bugs Bunny was for, the cool kids, But Donald Duck was a bit of an exception. Donald Duck had an edge to him. Donald Duck hated Mickey just as much as I did, which I thought was interesting. So, although I am not a big fan of Disney, the original, Walt Disney created cartoons, got a high regard for the innovations and all that of Walt Disney. He was a great man. He had some questionable things, but he was also a very look. You need to compartmentalize with people, right? People are complicated. They got a lot of moving parts. Some things he did were pretty shitty, but also a lot of what Walt Disney did has contributed. You can't even calculate the number of contributions that Walt Disney has made to the American popular culture. So I don't hate Disney. I just don't like the Mickey Mouse cartoons. So happy Donald Duck Day. Donald Duck being the exception. It's National Earl Day. If your name is Earl, hey man, today is all about you, my guy. I don't know what else to tell you. It's National Strawberry Rhubarb Pie Day. Boy, that sounds good. I don't even know what rhubarb is. I just know strawberry and pie together sound good. She's my strawberry pie. No, that wasn't it. It was cherry pie. That's right. All right, let's get into the things that happened on this day in history that make today so memorable. See, we do this show with a couple of different moving parts. The first is we tell you a little bit about the day specifically, how many days are left, then we go into the National Day calendar. Then I tell you a little bit about the history of this day, things that occurred on this day throughout history. That includes births and deaths. So let's get started. Oh, and then the last part is we get into the trends. We tell you what people are talking about, what the headlines are, and all that kind of stuff. On this day in 1954, Joseph N. Welch, special counsel for the United States Army, lashes out at Senator Joseph McCarthy during the Army McCarthy hearings. All right, so this is one of the more famous rebukes, clapbacks. All right, clapback. In the modern parlance, this is probably one of the most famous clapbacks in the history of American politics. McCarthy was a nutbag. McCarthy was a terrible person, and he was just going nuts with the whole, the Hollywood blacklist, and everybody's a communist, and hey, nobody knows who I am. I'm a senator from Wisconsin, and nobody pays any attention to me, so I'm going to just make up a whole bunch of shit about people that everybody knows, and then by association, I'll become very famous. That was his plan. That was McCarthy's plan. So he made up this. He went deep into the whole crazy communism thing. He really, talk about somebody who divided this country. Joe McCarthy was like one of the pioneers of using fringe politics to divide the country. And one of the most famous clapbacks in American political history occurred on this day, uttered by Joseph N. Welch while in the Senate hearings for, what was it? It was the Army. Hold on. Special counsel in the United States Army lashes out at Senator Joe McCarthy during the Army McCarthy hearings. That's what it is. And he looked at him and he said, "You've done enough. Have you no decency, sir? At long last, have you no sense of decency?" What a cool clapback for 1954. Have you no because it's basically what a lot of people in the country were thinking. They're like, this guy. And the way he said it like he was like, so it was so elitist, but yet it was also a very much, slap in the face. You've done enough. Have you no sense of decency? Have you no sense of decency, sir? At long last, have you left no sense of decency? Cool clapback. On this day in 1968, United States President Lyndon Baines Johnson declares a national day of mourning following the assassination of Senator Robert F. Kennedy. That's right. The other day we talked about how it was the anniversary of the Robert Kennedy killing, and it was on this day that LBJ declared a national day of mourning. Okay, so maybe you hear it. Got to let the dog in. I do apologize. Quick break. This will take like 5 seconds. This dog is driving me nuts. Get in here right now. Go to bed. Thank you, sir. Hey, you know what I realized? I realized that now that the camera is angled differently, I have to wear pants when I do the show. I'm not going to lie to you. There have been times when I've done this show in my underwear, and there was no way for the camera to pick that up because of the way it was angled. But now, because of the way that it's angled, I have to wear pants. Good thing I'm wearing pants today. Good thing for all of us. Good thing for so I won't be embarrassed. Okay. I just had to figure out which was right and which was left. Hi, Kenny. Kenny's here today. Kenny says, greetings from Nacogdoches, Louisiana. That's right. I've lived in this part of the country long enough. I know how to pronounce. Oh, wait. No. Wait, did I get that wrong? Or did he spell it wrong? I don't know. Nacogdoches. Isn't that the town? He's got it. NAT. It doesn't matter. Let's not get distracted. No bunny holes. All right. So on this day in 1973 in horse racing, the greatest American athlete of all time won the Triple Crown. Secretariat. Greatest American athlete of all time. Not human. I mean, fine if you want to nitpick. Secretariat wasn't human, but greatest American athlete of all time. If you're asking me, if we're calling horse racing a sport, which I think it's just more of a game of chance, right? But if we're calling horse racing a sport, because jockeys are athletic. They really are. They really are. That's a hard thing to do, man. So if we're calling it a sport, then we have to consider the people participating or the things participating in the sport, athletes. And by that measure, I say Secretariat is the greatest American athlete of all time. On this, it was in 73. He won the Triple Crown, Secretariat. On this day in 1978, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints opens its priesthood to, quote, all worthy men. All worthy men. Ending a 148-year policy of excluding black dudes. Nope. All worthy men. That means in 1978, we've decided that black men are worthy. All right, there you go. Let's talk about some births. Well, we got some fun births today. This one, here's one. A little something for you, a little something for me. This one is for me. This is one of my all-time favorite historical people. They were born on this day in the year 1672. And we are talking, of course, about Peter the Great of Russia. Peter the Great, Tsar of Russia. Why is he one of your favorite historical characters? Have you ever read about Peter the Great? This dude was awesome. And I don't mean that he did some really great things and, made Tsarist Russia, the power that it would be for a couple of hundred years and all that stuff until the fall and the rise of communism. No, I'm talking about just, he was nuts. Peter the Great was hysterical. First of all, he was giant. He was like giant for his time. And that's why Peter the Great. He wasn't called Peter the Great because he was great at being a czar. He was called Peter the Great because he was a greatly sized man. He was just a big, giant dude. He did all kinds of things. Like he did silly things. Okay, so they had this like Colosseum kind of a thing in Russia at the time. And when he was a young czar, he was obsessed with naval battles, but he didn't like to travel. He didn't want to have to travel all the way to the waters to, watch and see real naval battles. So he had this Colosseum flooded, and then he had a bunch of tiny little naval boats built, and then he made midgets have wars in the. He had like little midget naval battles for his entertainment. Also, Peter the Great was fascinated with dentistry. Peter the Great, basically, dentistry was just becoming a thing. And Peter the Great was fascinated with it. And I guess he looked at some dentistry of the time and he went, I could do that. And he just made himself a dentist. Now, he had no training. He didn't know how to be a dentist, and he used to nobody around Peter the Great would do any complaining about teeth because Peter the Great was like, I'll fix that. And he didn't know what he was doing. He would just yank people's teeth out. Like that was like his thing. He loved it. And he wasn't necessarily an evil guy or known as a cruel guy. He was actually known as kind of a fun guy. He would just rip your teeth out because he's thinking he's helping you. Also, he went, he took a tour of Europe. He was like one of the first czars to go all over Europe and be greeted by the crown kings and queens and monarchs and all that stuff. Basically did a little outreach. He went to England. and he was on an English naval ship, and they were basically showing him, Peter the Great, all the cool-ass naval technology that England had at the time. And they introduced him to something called keel hauling. Do you know what keel hauling is? Keel hauling is when they take a bad sailor and they put him on the bow of the boat with one leg over one side and the other leg over the other side. And then they put a rope around one leg and a rope around the other leg. And then they drop the ropes under the boat, and dudes at the back of the boat pull, and the dude gets pulled off the front of the boat and dragged underneath the boat. And they die. They basically die. Peter the Great was fascinated with that, and he demanded to be keel hauled. He thought that he could survive it. He's like, I could totally do that. That's not going to hurt. I could hold my breath. And they refused to keel haul Peter the Great. So he had his best friend do it. Hey, Yuri, you should do it. No, Peter, I don't want to do it. Oh, come on, Yuri, you can do it. Come on, Yuri. And Yuri died. And he blamed the Brits, and he almost went to war over it because he demanded that Peter the Great was hysterical, man. He was hysterical. Born on this day in 1915, Les Paul, American guitarist and songwriter, creator of the Les Paul guitar. Guitar players love this guy. I don't know that much about him. Born on this day in 1939. Okay, so I'm going to tell you this. So when I was growing, you all know I come from the 80s. But when I was growing up in the 1970s, sports were baseball and football. That's it. Baseball and football. Hockey to some degree, because I come from an original 6 town in hockey. But it was baseball and football, sometimes hockey, baseball, football, sometimes hockey. Never basketball. Basketball wasn't really a big thing in America in the 1970s. It was, the NBA for sure was not a big thing. The NBA championship games used to be played on tape delay late at night. That's how unimpressive the NBA was of the 1970s. And college basketball was just really a regional sport. Like if you lived in a city that had a good college basketball team, maybe you were kind of into it, but it wasn't really a big thing. And now college basketball March Madness is one of the biggest events of the year. The NBA is just an incredibly strong and massive global presence. The NBA is by far the greatest American sport that has achieved any sort of real lasting success on the global stage. Football has it. Baseball has, but not to the degree that basketball has. Baseball isn't played everywhere. Basketball is played everywhere. And there are four people that I believe are most responsible for the way basketball is viewed today. And one of them is celebrating a birthday today. I'll give you the three. Here, I'll give you the first three. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Michael Jordan. Those are the three that really changed the NBA game of basketball. But celebrating a birthday today is the guy that made college basketball something to watch. Dick Vitale. Dickie V made watching college basketball for a college kid or a teenager like myself, and then through the 80s and into the 90s, he made it a happening. Dickie V, battling cancer, had some great cancer results recently. He's in remission. He's like 100 billion years old. Well, today's his birthday. How old is he? 83 years old. 83-year-old Dick Vitale. One of the big four, in my opinion, the people that made basketball what it is today. Because it wasn't what it is today when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. Once again, I'll give them to you. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. They made the entire country interested in pro basketball. Michael Jordan took it to a global stage. And then the college game, Dick Vitale, man. Dick Vitale. Happy birthday, Dick. I hope you're feeling great. Another guy I hope is feeling great, celebrating a birthday today, born on this day in 1961, Michael J. Fox, Canadian-American actor, producer, author. Is it Parkinson's, right? It's Parkinson's that he has. What a sad deal. He was, is. He was so likable. Michael J. Fox was just a really likable guy. And he seemed like a really good guy. And it would have been interesting to see what his career as a growing, maturing actor would have been had he not been stricken by that insidious disease. Apparently, I read something recently that he's not doing great, that his Parkinson's is it's not good. So best thoughts for you, Michael J. Fox. I come from the 80s, so that means I recognize you as one of the 80s Mount Rushmore dude. Michael J. Fox, he was like the thing in television in the 80s. Teen Wolf, he was Teen Wolf. He was awesome. Adam says, man, I watched this thing about him and he almost blames his alcoholism on his Parkinson's or at best his penance for it. So sad, man. Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. Michael J. Fox he always just seemed like such a good dude. Born on this day in 1961, we call them umbilical cousins, not born to the same family, but born on the same day in the same year as Michael J. Fox. Aaron Sorkin. Aaron Sorkin. I have a love-hate relationship with Aaron Sorkin. My love for Aaron Sorkin is his dialogue, is his writing. Oh, man. As someone who fancies himself an unfulfilled writer, Aaron Sorkin, that dude can turn a phrase. That guy can write dialogue. You put two people in a room together and you're telling me that Aaron Sorkin is going to write their conversation. I am there. That guy knows how to write a conversation between two people. He's tremendously prolific. He's done a whole bunch. Aaron Sorkin draft. All right. Why not? We're having a little bit of fun today. Let's do an Aaron Sorkin draft on his birthday, born on this day in 1961. In the first round of the Aaron Sorkin, and again, all of these drafts are just my favorites. They're not, quantifiably as the best thing they've ever done. These are all just my favorites. In the first round of the Aaron Sorkin draft, Pugs and Company selects The West Wing. The West Wing. It's just so good. It's just so interesting. Again, the dialogue is so strong. In the second round of the Aaron Sorkin draft, I select one of my favorite movies. It's not a top 10. I don't think, because there are so many movies that I have that I call favorite movies. It might be like 11. It might be 12. It's somewhere. It's close to the top 10. A Few Good Men. A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. Aaron Sorkin wrote that. You can't handle the truth. Number 3 in the third round of the Aaron Sorkin draft. I love baseball movies. Y'all know I love baseball movies. And I have some hot takes on baseball movies, man. Baseball movie draft. Stop it. We're in an Aaron Sorkin draft. We can't do a baseball movie draft. But if we did, this film would be in the top 5 of my baseball movie draft. And that is Aaron Sorkin's Moneyball. Moneyball. In the first round, we took The West Wing. In the second round, we took A Few Good Men. In the third round, we took Moneyball. In the fourth round, we're going to go with more Aaron Sorkin sports. The first time I became aware, I think, of who Aaron Sorkin was when he created a 30-minute situation comedy for the ABC network back in the late 1990s. And it was called Sports Night. Sports Night, number 4 in the Aaron Sorkin draft. Sports Night was really good. Sports Night was really good, but it was almost like peak TV level situation comedy on a network before I think the networks were ready to do sort of smart, interesting situation comedy. Sports Night was basically a situation comedy about the production and running of a show like Sports Center. It was like the show Sports Night was called Sports Night, and it was theoretically a nightly sports wrap-up show like Sports Center, and it was all about how the producers put the show together and all that. It was really good. It was really good. I love Sports Night. Sports Night failed because there was no laugh track, and people didn't quite know what was supposed to be funny because Americans are stupid. And so, but if you ever get a chance to see Sports Night in I don't even know if it's available anywhere. It might be on Amazon Prime or something. It is so good. And it was the work that he did on Sports Night where they went, hey, you want to do something else? Because we think you're really good. And he said, yeah, I have this idea called West Wing. And that's how they got the West Wing, because of Sports Night. Number 1, West Wing. Number 2, Few Good Men. 3, Moneyball. 4, Sports Night. 5, The Social Network. The Story of Facebook is number 5 in my Aaron Sorkin draft. Number 5, The Social Network. That movie was so good. Didn't it win the Oscar? Then win the Oscar for Best Picture? I think it did. All right, so there you go. Your 5-round Aaron Sorkin draft of the things that I like most about Aaron Sorkin on his birthday. West Wing in the first round, Few Good Men in the second round, Moneyball in the third round, Sports Night in the fourth round, Social Network in the fifth round. But we're inviting people to camp. Oh my God, when you're as prolific as Aaron Sorkin, you better believe that we're inviting people to camp. How about Charlie Wilson's War? Loved Charlie Wilson's War. Tom Hanks as Texas Congressman Charlie Wilson. Charlie Wilson's War was so good. How about The American President? The American President. That was great. How about Molly's Game? Molly's Game. The movie that I saw where it's the movie that Jessica Chastain is my favorite actress currently out there. And it was because of Molly's Game. I watched Molly's Game and I'm like, what is this, a movie about poker? Yeah. So I watched Molly's Game and then I learned like it's a true story and all of these people in Molly's Game are based on these people, and Jessica Chastain was so good in that. Molly's Game gets an invite to camp. If you haven't seen it, you'll really enjoy it. It's a really good movie. The Newsroom on HBO, which was his follow-up to The West Wing. It ran for a couple of seasons on HBO. I thought it was really good. Some people didn't. And also, more recently, he did Being the Ricardos. I like that. They'll get a camp invite. And before that, for Netflix, he did The Trial of the Chicago 7, which was about the 1968 Democratic National Convention riots in Chicago. Trial of the Chicago 7. All right, there you go. Aaron Sorkin, happy birthday today, born on this day in 1961. Hey, look at this. Talk about timely. Talk about somebody who's probably going to be tearing it up, probably in London, probably on his island. Who knows where he's going to be. Johnny Depp is celebrating a birthday today. Johnny Depp, ladies and gentlemen, coming off the trial that galvanized the nation. He's the winning guy in the trial against his ex-wife, Amber Heard. Johnny Depp celebrating a birthday today. Also celebrate. Hold on. Wait, you're not going to do a Johnny Depp draft? You better believe I am. Johnny Depp draft. All right, 2 drafts in a row. What kind of nuttiness are we doing on today's? In the first round of the Johnny draft, again, these are things that I like most. These are not, how do you quantify what his best work is? Johnny Depp has done a lot of shit, right? So here are the things that I like best from Johnny Depp. In the first round, I'm taking his portrayal of American cocaine smuggler George Young. Blow with the first pick in the Johnny. It's so good. First pick in the Johnny Depp draft. Blow. If you haven't seen Blow in 20 years, watch it again. I recently watched it a couple of weeks ago. It's so good. I actually went into a Johnny Depp binge because of the trial. I was like, do I like Johnny Depp? Maybe I'm laying in bed trying to fall asleep. Maybe I'll put on a Johnny Depp movie. Blow is number 1. Number 2, another one that I recently watched. It is so good. Donnie Brasco. Johnny Depp, number 2 pick in the Johnny Depp favorite things draft. Number 3. This, if I hadn't done a Johnny Depp binge recently over the last 8 weeks, watching a bunch of his movies, this probably would have been the number 1 overall pick. Like if I'd come in cold. Number 3 in the Johnny Depp draft, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. His portrayal of Hunter Thompson covering his... Oh, God, that movie's so crazy. That movie is nuts. That movie is so fun. If you just buckle up, Buttercup. That movie is a ride. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is the 3rd round. 4th round of the Johnny Depp pick draft, Edward Scissorhands. It had to make it. You had to put Edward Scissorhands. That's such a good movie. I watched that movie like 4 years ago with my kid. We enjoyed it. Edward Scissorhands, such a good movie. And let's see here. Number 5 on the Johnny draft. Number 5 in the Johnny Depp favorite things draft, I will be selecting Black Mass. That's right, Black Mass. Not everybody liked it. I did. It was his portrayal of Boston gangster Whitey Bulger from a few years back. Black Mass was really good. So there you go. That's my Johnny Depp draft. Blow, Donnie Brasco, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Edward Scissorhands, and Black Mass. But you better believe we got some camp invites. That's right. Some undrafted free agents are coming to camp in this one. How about Pirates of the Caribbean? Never saw any of them. Never saw one. But by reputation, they get a camp invite. Never saw a Pirates movie. Rango, the animated thing that he did. Loved Rango. Me and my kid watched Rango when my kid was like 3 years old, and we just thought it was so bizarre and funny. I'm gonna give him a little nod here. Johnny Depp, Nightmare on Elm Street. That's right, Nightmare on Elm Street gets a camp invite. Did you guys remember Johnny Depp was in the Nightmare? He was. It was like one of his first movies. Crybaby, the John Waters Project gets a camp invite. Crybaby was a bizarre, weird movie. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Really good movie. Gets a camp invite. Ed Wood, really good movie, gets a camp invite. Public Enemies, really good movie, gets a camp invite. And finally, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. There you go. That's your Johnny Depp draft. There you go. All right. Born on this day in 1964, Wayman Tisdale. Wayman Tisdale. He died in 2009. Who's Wayman Tisdale? Well, that depends on who you ask. This is a really interesting dude. If you ask like most people, they will tell you that Wayman Tisdale was a really awesome college basketball player who then went on to have a nice career in the pros. Wayman Tisdale is probably best known as an NBA player and as a really good basketball player. But if you ask like a specific group of other people, do you know who Wayman Tisdale is? They'll say, yeah, he's one of the greatest bass players who's ever lived. Yeah, Wayman Tisdale left the NBA and became a musician. He became a jazz musician, and he became not just like a former pro athlete who's now playing music. He became a legitimate leader in the jazz movement of the 1990s. Wayman Tisdale is widely considered to be one of the great innovators of jazz bass that has ever lived. Wayman Tisdale. He was like a musical savant. He could play like everything, but bass was his instrument of choice. So happy birthday to you, Wayman Tisdale, born on this day in 1964. He died in 2009, ridiculously young. Born on this day in 1981, one of my favorites. I know Jessica Chastain is currently my favorite film actress, but this lady celebrating a birthday today might be number 2. Might be. I mean, I could put Scarlett Johansson in there somewhere too. But for a lot of years, this person was my favorite actress. I would see anything that she was in. Born on this day in 1981, Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman draft. We can't do 3 drafts. Sorry. Yeah, we can. Natalie Portman draft. 3rd draft of the day. I think we're setting records here. Okay, in the first round of the Natalie Portman Things I Like Best About Her draft, and it's a runaway. This is number 1 without a doubt. I'll die on this hill. I'll knife fight anybody who says that I'm not right about this. But she did a movie when she was a teenager, and first of all, it is one of, just without her performance in it, it is one of my favorite movies of all time. Remember I was talking about would A Few Good Men make my top 10? This one makes my top 5. This is a movie that I can still watch over and over again. I love this movie. And it's a movie that she did as a teenager called Beautiful Girls. Beautiful Girls. Timothy Hutton, Michael Rappaport, Uma Thurman. Oh, God, it was so good. And it was the story of a small town. And Timothy Hutton plays a dude who leaves his small town to go to New York. And he wants to become a musician. He leaves the town. They're like, oh, you're so talented. You got to go to New York. So he goes to New York. He's really struggling in New York. And he comes back to town for like a class reunion or whatever. And it's just like him sort of getting back in touch with the town that he's in and hanging out with all of his buddies from high school for the first time in 10 years or whatever. And Natalie Portman plays Teddy. She's a girl who moved into the house next door to his dad. So when he goes home to the home that he grew up in, he's got new neighbors. And Natalie Portman plays Teddy. And she's just this like little girl who has conversations with, not a little girl, she's a teenager who has conversations with, it's just such a good role. She is so strong. I remember that's the movie where I didn't really know who she was. But I saw her in this movie and I go, holy shit, that little girl stole this movie from everybody. And there were some big hitters in Beautiful Girls for the time. It was like, this little girl is awesome. Beautiful Girls, number 1 in my Natalie Portman draft, and it's not even close. Number 2 in my Natalie Portman draft also is a movie that I didn't even realize it was her until after she became a big star, and then I'm like, whoa, that was her? Leon the Professional. Have you ever seen Leon the Professional? I believe it's Natalie Portman's first movie. In this one, she was only like 8 or 9 years old. And she played a little girl who was adopted by a professional French, was it in France? A professional hitman. And he trains her. He's Leon the Professional. He's a professional hitman. Leon trains Natalie Portman, this little girl, to be this assassin. It's such a good movie, Leon the Professional, with the second pick in the Natalie Portman draft. With the third pick in the Natalie Portman draft, I'm going with the Star Wars. Everything she did in Star Wars. Those movies might kind of suck, but she was the best thing about them. Queen Amidala, Princess Amidala, Empress Amidala, Senator Amidala, whatever the hell it was. Fun fact about Natalie Portman. So in that movie, there was another person who is pretty famous now, who was not famous when she was in the movie, and she portrayed. There's a plot device in the movie where Natalie Portman's character, Empress Amidala, is in danger. So they have to get one of them, body doubles, someone to pose as her. And so they use one of her handmaidens to pose as Queen Amidala, and they make her up to look just like her and all that, and they're really indistinct. That handmaiden was Keira Knightley, who, weirdly enough, to this day, I sometimes have difficulty telling the difference between Natalie Portman and Keira Knightley. You look at these two side by side, and you're like, yeah, wow, they could totally be sisters, and they could be like more than sisters. They could be like super close twin sisters almost. So I was rewatching the Star Wars movies with my kid a few years ago, and I'm looking at this Keira Knightley as Natalie Portman, and I'm like, ever since that, it's anytime I see either one of them, I'm like, wait a second, hold on, take a beat. Is that Natalie Portman or is that Keira Knightley? Okay, no, okay, that's Natalie Portman. Oh, or is it? I don't know. They look so similar. So there you go. Third pick in the Natalie Portman draft goes to Star Wars. Fourth pick in the Natalie Portman draft, Jackie, her movie from a couple of years ago where she played Jackie Onassis. Not a great movie, but an incredible performance. She is so good. Number 5 in the Natalie Portman draft, this is one of my favorites, and you may not like it, and it may not be a movie that people think is awesome. I think it's awesome. V for Vendetta. V for Vendetta. Number 5 in my Natalie Portman draft. Number 1, Beautiful Girls. Number 2, Leon the Professional. Number 3, Star Wars. Number 4, Jackie. And number 5, V for Vendetta. And we're not going to invite anybody to camp. We're not. I don't care what you say. Here's the problem with inviting a bunch of Natalie Portmans to camp. I haven't seen a lot of them. She does a lot of like chick movies, like Jane Austen movies and stuff. I don't know any of that stuff. And I'm looking through this filmography and I'm like, nah. Black Swan almost got an invite to camp, but I didn't even watch that whole thing. I watched like 20 minutes of it, and I'm like, ballet? Nope, I'm out. The presence of Mila Kunis and Natalie Portman, two women who I really like, they couldn't get me more than 20 minutes for that movie, so I was out. And it's also, wasn't that a Darren Aronofsky movie? Oh, God, I hate that guy. Oh, what a douchebag that guy is. So I really didn't have the right frame of mind to be watching Black Swan. Maybe one day I'll go back. And I know there's like some crazy pervy scene in that, right? Some like crazy ballerina lesbian scene. I didn't even get to that. I don't even care. I'm not, what am I, 15? I don't give a shit about that. Dead on this day, we do have some deaths that we need to make note of. Actually, just one death we're going to mention here. Dead on this day in 2017, Adam West. A moment of silence for the original Batman. I never know how long a moment of silence is supposed to go. Is it like 5 seconds? I don't know. Adam West, he, of course, to an entirely new generation, people love him because of his work on Family Guy as Mayor Adam West. The actual actor, Adam West, is the guy who's now the mayor of Quahog, is it? Yeah, I think it's Quahog in Family Guy. He was great. I mean, he was great. His portrayal of Batman in that style that he chose is just it's like Captain Kirk. It's iconic. It's so perfect. He created this way of delivering lines. He's incredible. Okay, so there you go. There you have it. A moment of silence, Jeff says, should last until it feels uncomfortable, right? Bill Falk, now you suggest Garden State for the Natalie Portman draft. And you know what? You're right. Garden State is going to get, I'd forgotten about Garden State. Garden State is going to get an invite to camp. She was the girl with cancer in that, right? Wasn't that her deal? Garden State was a really good little movie. Who made Garden State? Was that the dude from Scrubs or the dude from Ed? I don't know. I get the dude from Scrubs and the dude from Ed mixed up, but whatever. Garden State was a good movie. JBM says, I didn't realize that Natalie Portman was in Heat, another one when she was young. Yeah, she was the daughter in Heat. Wasn't really a big enough role, right? JBM? I don't know. Because I love Heat, but Heat, when I think of Heat, I think of De Niro and, Pacino and all of that. Let's see. Adam says, come on, Pug. She's a perfect manic pixie dream girl in Garden State. Yeah. Look, I'm not going to argue with you about. I brought that back. I invited Garden State to camp as the lone undrafted free agent camp invitee. You're right. Yeah, I'm wrong. Garden State is a really good movie. All right, let's get into the things that are trending today. We'll start it off with Jan 6. Okay, the big Jan 6 hearings are happening tonight. Most channels are airing it. I'm pretty sure it's only Fox News that isn't airing it. So here's what we got. What to expect during today's January 6th committee hearings. Let's get into this. Okay. Tonight in prime time, the first public hearing of the January 6th committee will take place in Washington. The group was formed last summer after the attack at the Capitol, which occurred while Congress was attempting to certify the 2020 election results. What to expect, it says here. By now, many of the photos and the videos from that day all somewhat look the same. But the committee is promising to release previously unseen material that documents just how terrifying the day was for many. The previous president of ABC News has been hired to help produce the made-for-television event, which begins at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. As a reminder, that day forced former Vice President Mike Pence to be rushed to a secure location. Speaker Nancy Pelosi was evacuated entirely from the Capitol over safety threats. 4 rioters died during the assault, including Ashley Babbitt, who was shot and killed by Capitol police officer when she attempted to enter a secured area. And 5 Capitol police officers died in the following days of the attack, either from health complications or suicide. The Justice Department charged close to 900 Americans for being involved in some way in that day. The hearing is taking place in a committee room in the Cannon House office building, which is where many representatives have their Washington offices. While it will include some new information, it will largely be a summary of the investigation so far. New testimony will occur tonight from individuals who will say the riot was not as spontaneous as you may have thought, including testimony from a filmmaker who had been following some rioters prior to the January 6th attack. Okay, so that I've seen some of that footage. It was going around earlier today. It's the first time anybody other than those members on the January 6th committee has seen this footage. There was a documentary filmmaker who was embedded with the Proud Boys, and he had been filming the ramp up, that he was documenting this whole, because apparently they thought it was going to work and they were going to now be kings of America, and they wanted it documented for future because, victors create history. And as it turns out, it's now being used against them. But this guy has stuff about, look, conspiracy is a plan between 2 or more people, right? So this guy has evidence of a conspiracy. He filmed meetings weeks before the event between Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, and he also documents specific members of Congress who were giving both Proud Boy members and Oath Keepers tours of the building so that they knew where to go. Look, this new stuff, at least the stuff that I've seen, especially with him on the ground during it all, he was being attacked. People started attacking him. It's different footage. It is different footage, and it is different testimony than we've heard. So that's really all that I have seen so far that is different. I haven't watched any of the documentaries on it. There have been a number. HBO did a whole thing. CNN did a whole thing. There have been a whole bunch of, over the last couple of years, really in-depth pieces produced about the events of that day. I've not watched any of them. I don't need to watch any of them. I watched it happen in real time before my eyes on the radio, listening to the Washington police scanner, watching. I had multiple screens going. I'm watching different angles from different news organizations. I know what happened on that day. I watched it. I'm an American citizen. I sat there all day for 8 hours on a couch watching what happened. Okay. So I don't need to see the document. I don't need it put together in nice little bite-sized morsels so that I can truly understand. I watched it. I know what I saw. And tonight, I think what we'll get is what the investigation has been learning over the past 10 months or so, because that's what we haven't gotten. We've gotten little leaks and trickles. We've gotten little pieces, but the vast majority of what has been occurring during the ramp up to the investigation, during the ramp up to the hearings, the investigation has been behind closed doors. We don't know the stuff that what they've been told. We don't know what people have testified to. All we know are the itty bitty leaks and trickles that have been allowed out. And if you know anything about journalism, those are supposed to be things when you leak something, when you trickle something out and you hold back on the vast majority of what your findings are. Those leaks and those trickles, those are just hors d'oeuvres. Those are just things to make you go, you don't give the big stuff up. So I'm very interested to see what this is going to reveal, shit that we don't know, stuff that's only been speculated on. So that's happening tonight, January 6th. The hearings on most of the major network television and cable news and free streaming. It's going to be everywhere. So get your popcorn ready, as they say. Red flag law, red flag bill is trending. House passes red flag bill as talks continue on gun restrictions. All right. So, again, I hate that I have to say this. Second Amendment guy, you should be able to buy guns. You should be able to own guns. This is America. That's just the way it is. But we do need to have some reasonable things that are in place so that not everybody, like an 18-year-old wackadoo down in Uvalde on his birthday, can't just run down and buy 2 AR-15s, a whole bunch of ammunition, and then walk down to the school and kill a bunch of fourth graders. We have to. We do this for everything else. We've talked about it. We do this for. I gave the example of what you have to go through to become a hairdresser in Illinois, all of the steps you have to take. Why? Because you could kill somebody as a hairdresser. You could slice their throat. All the things that you have to do in Texas, according to the TABC, in order to be a legal bartender in Texas. We can talk about how old you have to be just to buy cigarettes. You can talk about how old you have to be to drive a car and what you have to go through to drive a car. So look, reasonable minds can agree that there should be certain people who are precluded from owning firearms. Not in my country. Shut up and sit down. You're being unreasonable. This conversation is for the adults in the room. You are not one of them. All right, so this red flag law, let's talk about what this is that has passed the House. The House of Representatives on Thursday passed a so-called red flag bill that would allow, here is what this law says. Are you ready? This new law would allow a judge, not Cooter down at the filling station, a judge. This law would allow a judge to take firearms away from a person who poses an imminent danger to themselves or others. The bill, one of a number of gun safety measures taken up in the House in the wake of the mass shootings in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, advanced in a 224 to 202 vote. 202 people, elected representatives, think that somebody who is obviously out of their mind should not have their weapons of mass murder taken from them. 202 idiots. The vote is viewed as having a greater chance than some of the other legislation of advancing in the Senate. Yeah, well, we will see. 5 Republicans supported this measure and 1 Democrat voted against it. So of the 224 to 202 in the House, only 5 Republicans supported it. The normal ones, the reasonable ones, and 1 Democrat was against it. Speaking on the House floor ahead of the vote, Rep. Jerry Nadler, this guy, Democrat from New York, said the measure, which would allow a judge to issue an order temporarily preventing a person deemed a danger. That's somebody who goes on Facebook and goes, I just got these guns and I'm going to shoot up a school. Okay, so you do that now? A judge sees that and goes, go get his guns. They can go get his guns because, we've seen that a lot. We have seen after people do these mass shootings, we have then seen, well, how come they didn't do anything about it? He said on Facebook that he was going to do something. He took all of these. Look, do people understand? You can't have it both ways. You can't be critical of the incompetent FBI and ATF or Homeland Security or whoever else. You can't be critical of them after the fact if you don't give them the tools to do what you're saying they should have done in the first place. This law would allow a judge when somebody goes, hey, my crazy cousin Kenny, no offense, Kenny Jenkins hanging out. My crazy cousin Kenny, he was talking at Thanksgiving about how he can go kill a bunch of people at the mall. You got to allow a judge to then hear that story and go, all right, you seem kind of reasonable about that. That seems you're not a crazy person. Let's go get old Kenny's guns for a little bit and lock him up in storage until we can have somebody check him out and see if any of this stuff is true. That's reasonable. That is reasonable. That is a reasonable thing. That doesn't take the guns away from you, the normal person who isn't going on Facebook going, I hate the Jews and I hate, that's not going to affect you. It's going to affect the people we need to affect with these kinds of laws. It's called reasonable. This is why I don't want to do a show tonight. This is because the January 6th thing is also going to get me all spun out. I know what I saw. While details in mass shooting cases may differ, Nadler said, there's one theme that comes up most often. Someone deeply troubled, experiencing some sort of crisis, who also has easy access to firearms. All too often, the warning signs are clear with these people, and nothing was done to keep guns out of their hands before it was too late. Reasonable. And I am not a Jerry Nadler fan. First of all, I think that he could wear better suits. That's just as far as I'll go. Because I don't want to criticize people. I'm just tired of this. However, let's talk about Rep. Mike Johnson from Louisiana. You don't have to guess who's the major contributor to his re-election campaigns. Rep. Mike Johnson of Louisiana urged his colleagues to vote against the bill. Don't allow judges to take guns away from people who are talking about killing folks on Facebook or wherever. It doesn't matter. It's just an example I'm using. Don't do that. Please don't vote for this bill. That crazy guy making these crazy threats is an American citizen, and he has a right to make those crazy threats. And what are the odds that he's going to do? Well, I don't know what the odds are, but I do know what the results are because we have seen it. We have seen it over and over again. We have seen it in both these two most recent mass shootings. We saw it in the Buffalo guy. The Buffalo guy was all over social media talking about his shit. The Uvalde killer, he was on social media talking about his shit. Come on, man. We've seen it. Rep. Mike Johnson urged his colleagues to vote against the bill, saying it would allow the courts to take guns away from people without notice and without even the right to appear at a hearing to defend themselves in court. Better safe than fucking sorry, asshole. I don't give a shit. It's a temporary thing. You will get your chance to appear in court, but you know how courts are? Courts take like months. You get to court. Oh, we've got an opening here in September, the first week of September. Are you still going to be crazy in September, or are you going to get it all out of your system and kill a whole bunch of people at a water park in July? All right, there you go. Keep your guns. We'll talk about taking your guns in September, even though in June you're talking about shooting up a Wet and Wild. Come on, man. Come on. It's reasonable. And if you don't see that as reasonable, taking guns away from people who are making crazy statements and who seem completely unstable, if you don't agree with that, then go away. Go away. Go move somewhere else. This cannot. It's an untenable situation. And, Mike Johnson doesn't want this because, guns, NRA, all that nonsense. All right, so it's starting tonight, January 6th. Red flag law. You got people making arguments against keeping guns away from people who have displayed by their own accord that they're crazy And they're talking about, I'm crazy, I hate people, and I got all these guns. I'm going to do something with it, but you can't take my guns because Congressman Mike douchebag from Louisiana says that I have a right to do what I'm going to do. Yulk. Gas prices are trending. Gas prices have finally soared over $5 for the national average. And they're going to go higher. Oh, man. Traveling this summer? I saw a thing this morning. It said a person paid like $110 to fill up their just regular family car. Just regular family car in California. Cost them $110. What are you going to do? Jack Del Rio is trending. Jack Del Rio is Washington Commanders defensive coordinator, former player himself. Jack Del Rio raised some eyebrows yesterday during a press avail at Washington Commanders minicamp when he started talking about January 6th and he called it a dust up, and then he became, the American guy. This is just my opinion, and I can form my opinion, blah, 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 and I don't care. You can't tell me that I can't say this. And so he did that whole bit, right? So, and that's fine. You 100%. Jack Del Rio, nobody is telling you that you can't think or say whatever the hell you want. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. But what you also have to understand is that there are repercussions that come with your freedom. Freedom is hand in hand with responsibility for your freedom. So if the Washington Commanders, who are in a lot of trouble, the Washington Commanders didn't need this dude. Here's what happened to you, Jack Del Rio. Nobody told you that you couldn't say that. People said you're an asshole for saying that. That's what happened. Nobody said, put duct tape over his mouth and don't allow him to say that. You said something. People reacted to what you said. That's how it works. You said something. People reacted to what you said. And then the Washington Commanders, your bosses, who are already in a lot of trouble, they went, oh, God. Oh, man, now we're getting calls from corporate sponsors and we're getting all of this heat now. Jack Del Rio, you can't tell me. I'm a man. And this is what I'm, he did that whole thing. He was very defiant. He was, this is what I'm going to say. He's that whole thing, which, again, is fine, man. You should. I am not for censorship of any kind. But I am here to remind you that when you do say overtly provocative things, you do have to take responsibility for them and you do have to suffer the response to it. It's like, it's the great libertarian credo of, a business should be able to exclude anybody that they want. If a business wants to open up in a town and say, I don't want gays or black people or Jews coming into this business, they should be able to do that. They should. And let me be clear. I'm not saying that is my position. This is the libertarian position, that they should be able to do that. And the reason for that is because people in the community will probably just not go there. If that is such a bad business way to operate your little, diner, wherever, then, you will suffer the consequences of these beliefs and these actions. That's how it works. It's America. You can say whatever you want. But if you're opening a movie and you say, "Hey, come see my movie," even if you're one of them rat fink inbred weirdos from Iowa, you can say that. But then don't expect people in Iowa to go see your movie. Those are the repercussions for it. So Jack Del Rio got up yesterday. And he was trending all day because people were just outraged. Oh, my God, I can't say. But nobody's advocating that he shouldn't be able to say what he says or think what he thinks. That's totally fine. But he does have a boss. Everybody serves somebody. I believe it was Bob Dylan who said that. And the people who served Jack Del Rio went nuts on him. They were like, you can't, what are you doing, man? You've got to be more, you dumb meathead. You dumb meathead. You have got to be a little bit more aware of your situation. You just got up in front of the throngs of the Washington media and the NFL press, and you said something that they're going to put out there into the Twittersphere, the whatever, the social, and people are going to be angry because you needlessly provoked a whole bunch of people with your opinion, which you're allowed to have. You're allowed to have that opinion. You're allowed to say that opinion. But now people are going to react to that opinion. And now we, your bosses, have to deal with that reaction. So it was only like 3 hours later that Jack Del Rio, you had to put out this big, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I didn't. First rule of being a meathead, okay? First rule of being a meathead, Jack Del Rio, don't let them make you their bitch. If you're going to be a meathead, you be a meathead. You strike, please, I'll take whatever, I'll take the responsibility for saying what I'm saying. First rule of being a meathead, don't let them make you their bitch. Hey, Jack Del Rio, they made you their bitch. You groveled. He had to put out this big, like 3 hours after he did it, he had to put out this big thing like, oh, I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. He also included the, I'm an American and I believe this, but I also don't think that blah, blah, blah. You know, he basically apologized for what he said because his bosses made him do it. And, you know, when I first saw what Jack Del Rio said, I was like, okay, don't agree with that. It's going to be fun to watch the fireworks that result from this because I know a lot of people aren't as even keeled on these things as I am. A lot of people are going to come for him. I wonder how this is going to play out. And then, like, a couple hours later, I actually followed Jack Del Rio. I went, that deserves a follow. I want to see what happens next. And then I read this apology and I'm like, oh, you pussy. I respected you for going up there and going, I don't care if I do lose my job by saying so. But he didn't even think it through that far. He didn't think that there would be any kind of repercussions because he's a meathead, because he's not a smart guy. You know, he's a football. He's one of these guys, right? So he didn't think it through. He got up, he became obstinate, and he's like, I'm a man, and I'm worth like $6 million. You know, he's like rich, but not super rich, you know, but he's comfortable, so he thinks that he can, you know, kind of do whatever a white man in America, you know, that whole thing. He's got that whole vibe going. And by the way, I like Jack Del Rio, or at least I did, and I have a lot less respect for him as a individual. I mean, I think that he's a damn good, you know, coach. He was a damn good player. I have a lot less respect for him now because he apologized, because he just crumbled. As they were like, we're going to fire you, Jack. Do you still stand by that opinion? Don't fire me. Don't, please. I'll never get another. No, you won't, Jack. You, at least not for a couple of years. You'll be on the bench for a while. So that's why Jack Del Rio is. He was trending yesterday because as an American, he had the right to say whatever he wanted to say. But he didn't recognize that he also has to suffer the barbs and arrows that come with having a provocative opinion. And that opinion was certainly provocative to a lot of people. And he was just so obstinate about it. That's what it was. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it because I don't care. Cut to 3 hours later. Please don't fire me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it. First rule of being a meathead, don't let them make you their bitch. Jack Del Rio, they made you their bitch. Kavanaugh law. Kavanaugh law is trending. That is a law that Mitch McConnell rushed to the floor of the Senate yesterday. If you remember yesterday, Justice Kavanaugh of the Supreme Court of the United States, a crazy person went to his house, which apparently, look, the Supreme Court justices' homes, they shouldn't be available on the internet, right? Like they just shouldn't. There's too many crazy people. Whether you agree or disagree with, you know, their decisions or their opinions on any number of court, they're still Supreme Court justices of the United States. There's got to be some measure of respect. You got to protect them better than just allowing. But you know, it's out there. So some crazy person found out where he lived, and was planning on going there and killing him, but it got foiled. They foiled the plot to assassinate Justice Kavanaugh. How did they foil the plot? Because the guy that was going to kill Justice Kavanaugh had second thoughts and called 911 and said, I'm going to kill Justice Kavanaugh. You should probably come get me. So, you know, if only the 9/11 hijackers had done that, right? If only the 9/11 hijackers had. Oh, my God. So the plot was foiled. Not necessarily due to any monitoring system or any great due diligence on behalf of our, you know, law enforcement agencies. The plot was foiled because the guy himself called on himself. I'm going to do this. Here's where I am. Come get me. I don't trust myself. So in the wake of that, Mitch McConnell rushed a bill to the Senate floor yesterday. It's a Kavanaugh law. Basically, it would increase security for families of Supreme Court justices. It would do all kinds of things, which I'm all for. I think that it's a perfectly reasonable law that, I mean, I don't know. I think there are. Let me use the argument that a lot of my friends on the right would use for just about every argument. Okay, first of all, thoughts and prayers for the Supreme Court justices. Two, what if they just use door locks? What if Supreme Court justices just lock their doors? Or what if Supreme Court justices, if they're afraid, what if they boarded up their back doors and only had one central entrance and exit to their homes and kept that door locked? Okay, those are good. And the other argument that I would use for this is, aren't there already laws that isn't it already illegal to murder a Supreme Court justice? Isn't it already? Don't they already have security? I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I understand why you might want to maybe take a look at how this stuff is done. If somebody was actively trying to kill him, maybe it would have worked. I don't know. Maybe they've been stopped by security. Who knows? But in this particular case, we never will know because this guy called the cops on himself. This guy called the police on himself. So, maybe that's a law we should pass. All right, there's a new law in the United States. If you're planning on killing anybody, before you do that, call 911 and tell police that you're going to kill somebody and then give them about 15 minutes to come get you. Is that a law we could all vote for? At any rate, the Kavanaugh law pushed by Mitch McConnell has stalled. It is stalled in the Senate because that's what happens. That's what happens with everything in this country. Mike Tyson is trending. Why is Mike Tyson trending? Mike Tyson is trending because apparently there's a new Hulu biopic coming out. Mike Tyson is going to be portrayed in a television series form. It's the story of his life. It is unauthorized, and Mike Tyson is against it. Mike Tyson does not want to have anything to do with this. He's saying that this is nonsense. And to counteract the new Hulu series, Mike Tyson is working with Jamie Foxx and Martin Scorsese to actually do a movie on his life, a big movie on his life. So the Hulu Mike Tyson series, which is coming, is not authorized, and Mike Tyson will want nothing to do with it. And here's the thing. Typically, my rule of thumb is that I feel I would be more entertained by an unauthorized bio of someone simply because it's going to have more dirt. I don't really care if it's true or not. I'm looking 2 hours. I'm looking for something fun to watch. Well, really? He did that? Probably not, but it makes for a good scene in a movie. So that's why I'm almost always drawn to the unauthorized. But in the case of Mike Tyson, his craziness has all been well documented. There's no way Mike Tyson can participate in a movie with Jamie Foxx and Martin Scorsese and leave out. Mike Tyson did like a 2-hour Broadway show. Have you ever seen that? You ever seen that on HBO where Mike Tyson just gets up with a microphone on a Broadway stage and just talks about all the crazy shit he's done? So an authorized Mike Tyson movie is probably going to be really good. It's going to have all kinds of really crazy stuff. But this is about the Hulu series. The life of Mike Tyson, one of the world's greatest heavyweight boxers, is about to be dramatized for the small screen. Tyson may be known for his fierce boxing style, his face tattoo, and his distinctive voice, but Hulu's Mike, it's called Mike, is keen to show the sportsman in what has been described as an unauthorized and no-holds-barred drama. See, but Mike's going to do that himself in his own movie, and it will be authorized, and we'll get the actual stories from the guy himself. It's not like Mike Tyson doesn't have a lot of crazy stories. I mean, again, if you've seen the one-man show, the Mike Tyson thing he did on Broadway, this guy's got stories for days, and they're all excellent, and they would all make incredible scenes in movies. The boxer has remained one of the sport's most famous faces in the decade since his 1985 debut. His powerful boxing style earned him the nickname Iron Mike and saw him become the youngest heavyweight champion of the world at the age of 20. To tell Tyson's story, the right actor is needed for the part. So they chose the dude from Moonlight. You ever seen Moonlight? Trevante Rhodes is going to be playing him in the Hulu movie. Hulu's limited series is being created by I, Tonya screenwriter Steven Rogers, who is also an executive producer on the project. And it's aforementioned reference to being unauthorized certainly rings true. Tyson himself has spoken out against this Hulu biopic and condemned the project in a since-deleted statement in February of 2021, which read, Hulu's announcement to do an unauthorized miniseries of my story without compensation, although unfortunate, isn't surprising. This announcement on the heels of social disparities in our country is a prime example of how Hulu's corporate greed led to this tone-deaf cultural misappropriation of my life story. No chance in hell Mike Tyson wrote that. Mike Tyson may have put his name on it, but there is no way in hell that Mike Tyson said in a tweet, this announcement on the heels of social disparities in our country is a prime example of how Hulu's corporate greed led to this tone-deaf cultural misappropriation of my life story. No, you didn't do that. That's somebody else. He went on to say, Hollywood needs to be more sensitive to Black experiences, especially after all that has transpired in 2020. The real Mike Tyson authorized story is in development and will be announced in coming days. Again, he didn't say that either. Within a few weeks of this statement, the real authorized biopic was announced, a series titled Tyson, starring Jamie Foxx in the lead role. The series has Tyson's full backing, and it will be directed by Antoine Fuqua and executive produced by Martin Scorsese. So there you go. I'll wait for that one. I'll wait for Tyson as opposed to Hulu's Mike. There was a Mike Tyson movie already that came out probably 30 years ago. I remember it was a made-for-TV movie. I watched it. I enjoyed it. Valerie Bertinelli is trending. Valerie Bertinelli is trending. Who doesn't love Valerie? This is it. This is it. Valerie Bertinelli from One Day at a Time, wife of Eddie Van Halen, mother of Wolfie Van Halen, fabulous babe of the 70s. Valerie Bertinelli says that she is never. First of all, she's getting divorced. She's divorcing her second husband now. This is the guy that she got to be tough, man. Seriously, okay. So Valerie Bertinelli got married very young. She was like a young television star. Everybody loved her. She was so adorable, so cute. She married scary, spooky rock and roller Eddie Van Halen, and the whole country was like, "What? Why is Eddie Van Halen that scary rock guy who seemed sweaty and dirty?" Although he really didn't. Eddie Van Halen was always smiling and he seemed very happy. It was just, rock music of the time was, that's heavy and hard and devil's music. And it never was. Van Halen certainly never was. They're a party band. They're like a good time band. But he was seen as a druggie and all this. And what is he doing with America's Sweetheart? What is he doing with Valerie Bertinelli? So there was a lot of that back in the day. And they were married for like 20 years. They raised a kid, Wolfie Van Halen, who's now a musician in his own right. And then they got divorced. And even when Eddie Van Halen was dying of cancer, it was still Valerie Bertinelli who was by his bedside and all that kind of stuff. They raised a family together. They just decided that after 20-something years of marriage that we're going to go our separate ways. I mean, we're still family. We're just not going to live together anymore. And we're going to get to go date other people. So Valerie Bertinelli then married another dude. Could you imagine? I mean, come on, man. The ex-husband is Eddie Van Halen, right? It's like so you're married to Eddie Van Halen's ex. Eddie Van Halen is was, God rest his soul. Eddie Van Halen was beloved. Eddie Van Halen, like I said, the smiley guy, the just want to have a good time guy. Everybody loved Eddie Van Halen. He wasn't mean. He seemed like a really cool guy. Imagine having to follow that. Imagine having to be the husband that's not Eddie Van Halen. So no surprise there, that marriage dissolved. And now Valerie Bertinelli is single again. And she says, I am going to be more than happy to be happily divorced and to spend the rest of my life alone, the actor and Food Network star said on Today. Let's see here. Valerie Bertinelli says that she is done looking for love ever again after filing for divorce from her second husband. The actor and Food Network star was blunt about her future in an emotional interview with Hoda Kotb on Today. Bertinelli, 62, filed for divorce from husband Tom Vitale last month after 11 years of marriage. She says, I'm going to be more happy to be happily divorced and spend the rest of my life alone, she said. I'll be happy that way. I'll be happy at least with my 6 cats and my dog and my son and hopefully one day some grandchildren. Hoda asked Bertinelli if she sees herself looking for love again one day, and Valerie Bertinelli says, oh God, no. Because of the challenges that I'm going through right now, because divorce sucks. I can't imagine ever trusting anyone again to let into my life. So I have some trust issues that I'm sure I'm going to have to get past. Let me tell you something, Valerie. I'm with you. That is completely, aside from the trust issues, I don't necessarily have trust issues because I don't think the actions of one person, I don't think one person who's in your life, their betrayals will necessarily dictate that, everyone else can't be trusted. Like, I'll give you an example. The one thing that I despise, I hate when okay, so there are people who grown up, especially boys who have grown up and they've heard their dads and the men in their lives say things like, "Never trust anybody. Everybody's out to get you." I don't live that way. I don't believe that way. What a dark and bitter and broken way. Though that's the advice of a broken person who has been betrayed, who has been played the fool, who has had some deceptions that, he feels or blames for his lot in life. That's not real. Everybody is different. It's on you to not be betrayed. You need to be the one who evaluates each and every individual that you let into your life. And you need to determine whether or not, you can, first of all, handle a betrayal from them, because people will betray you, but not everybody. Not everybody is. I've got a number of people, and don't trust anybody. I would say, and man, am I lucky to have this. Now, in this particular situation, we're talking about dudes, guys who are my friends. I have a solid 4 people in my life who I 99.9% know with absolute certainty would never betray me. They might do things I disagree with, but it would never rise to the level of betrayal. And I can tell you that when it comes to these 4 people, because you can only speak for yourself, never in a million years, never for $1 million would I betray them. I mean, it's just you. So because I know who I am with certain people, I know, for instance, E, E, you all know sunglasses. Never in a million years could I ever betray him. Thicker bond than a brother. I'm on team E all the time because he has displayed that he is on team me. We have had each other's backs during some really, really rough times. So I can tell you from my own personal experience that there is absolutely no way ever under any circumstance that I would do something to betray him. So when I hear people with trust issues say, "Don't trust anybody," I go, well, I think that's on you. Then you must feel like you can't be trusted, because I know that I can't be alone. I know that I would never betray these people. So that means there must be other people also who feel that way, right? But if I looked at these personal situations and went, "Yeah, for the right money, I'd totally fuck him over." If if that's something that you have processed in your own self and you understand that to be the truth of who you are, then yeah, then I can see how you might not be able to see how other people could be, trustworthy. But I hate that. I hate that whole thing. So, but as far as Valerie Bertinelli goes, I totally get it, man. I like being alone. I too have been divorced twice. Uh, love both the women. Love them both. Love them both with all of my heart. But we can't be married. I can't. I can't be married. I can't be in a relationship. My son's mom, wonderful woman. My first wife, one of my favorite people that have ever walked the earth. I have absolutely no ill will towards any of them. But I also know that I don't really want to do that again. I don't really want. I don't want to. I don't want to have another. I'm good. I'm good. I've done it. And when I was reading this article about Valerie Bertinelli and what she said today, I was like, yeah, I totally get it. Just be happy at this stage of your life. I don't need another person. First of all, I don't like sharing a bed with somebody, right? I don't like having to decide what we're going to watch on TV. I'm an only child. From the time I was little, I grew up by myself in my own head, thinking about my own stuff. I love my alone time. Now, you want to talk about somebody who probably did it right. My mom did it right. My mom was also like that. She's also a very solitary person. And after my father died, she spent 50 years basically, just on her own, and not for lack of trying. She had boyfriends. She had a lot of dudes that were coming around, and she was just like, eh. And then, later in life, she found a guy who she's madly in love with. who's like super awesome. Like everybody loves this dude. And he's now family. And now so they're gonna ride off into the sunset together. And she didn't need all the nonsense of the ups and downs. I think I could see that. Like I could see me getting with an old lady, at like 70 or something and just hanging out and being happy. Hell, modern times, I might get with an old dude. I mean, if we're not having sex, I don't I don't want to go there, but you know what I'm saying? If we're just to hang out, well, maybe I just live in a platonic relationship with some dude that I like hanging out with. You got to have somebody around to remind you to take your pills and stuff like that. But I totally get what Valerie Bertinelli's saying. Oh, she's going to meet a dude to be married in 2 years. Maybe, good for her, whatever. But I get the mindset that she's in right now. Tampons. Tampons are trending. Why are tampons trending? Hey, ladies. Are you having trouble finding tampons? Because apparently tampons are next up in the supply chain, gang. I don't know. I hit that. I don't know how to stop it. There you go. You stop it like that. Yeah. So baby formula, right? Baby formula was hard. They're restocking the baby formula thing now. We're getting that back up to speed. But now apparently tampons can't be found. No, it's like tampons are like nowhere to be found. So that's why tampons are trending. Tampons. Live Golf. That's the Saudi Arabian PGA challenger. That's they offered Tiger $1 billion. They're paying Phil Mickelson $200 million. They've signed a couple of more big PGA players. A couple of more big PGA players are coming over to golf there for the Saudi League. Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Reed will be joining Live Golf for the first U.S. event. I'm telling you, man, this is the USFL of golf. What the USFL was able to do to the NFL in the mid-1980s, this Saudi Arabian heavily funded, well-backed golf league seems to be trying to do that. They're going after big names and they're paying them. They're paying them way more than the PGA is willing to pay these people for participating in the PGA Tour. And that's what the USFL did. USFL paid Herschel Walker. The USFL paid Doug Flutie. They paid Jim Kelly. They paid all of these people who were, would have been number one picks, first rounders, 1, 2, 3, whatever picks you want to say in the NFL, big stars in the NFL. Steve Young. I mean, these players came out of college and they would have gone to the NFL and they would have signed a contract that was offered them because that was all they had. But then the USFL came in and said, yeah, you can sign for $1 million with the NFL, or you can come here and you can sign for $7 million. Which one you want to do, right? So you're a 22-year-old kid fresh out of college. I'll take the $7 million. Thank you very much and move on. Live Golf seems to be doing that. They've got deep pockets and they are paying people. This is that process, though. We have to be aware of the truly global situation that's happening here. The Saudi-backed golf league is another example of something that's known as sports washing. Do you know what sports washing is? Sports washing is a way that dubious governments and dubious nations have been able to do a bit of character rebuilding through sports. We've seen this with the Olympics, like a really shitty place that has terrible human rights. They get the Olympics and for like 2 weeks, it's like, look how beautiful Beijing is, or whatever. That's what this is. Saudi Arabia is trying to make people forget about all of the terrible shit that they do by creating this golf league that will celebrate Saudi Arabia. It's sports washing, and they've got a lot of money, and they are putting it in there. They are putting it into this attempt to overturn or at least disrupt what has always been the domain of the PGA. I don't care about golf, but I do think this is an interesting story. Ryan Kelly is trending. Ryan Kelly is running for the governor's mansion there in Michigan. He is the GOP candidate for governor in the state of Michigan. He's been arrested. He's been arrested this morning by the FBI. Apparently, he's another one of these January 6th people. So there you go. In a goofy state like Michigan, this actually might be good for him. Who knows? John Elway is trending. Now, this is fantastic. This is really, really interesting. Okay, so John Elway is trending. You guys, pull up a chair. Listen to this story. Do you think that you've ever made some bad business decisions? John Elway made the mother of all bad business decisions. Now, John Elway's a rich guy, but he's not rich, right? He's like in that mid-tier rich where he's got a nice house and drives nice cars, but he doesn't have a private island and he doesn't have enough to make anybody he wants president. You know what I mean? He doesn't have like crazy billionaire money. He's not a billionaire. He's probably, I don't know, tens of millions. He's in the tens of millions camp, sure. But John Elway, okay, so let me give you the framework of this story. So the Denver Broncos just sold yesterday to the one of the Walmart heirs, right? So they came in, they bought it from the Bowen family, $4.6 billion. $4.6 billion is what the Denver Broncos sold for yesterday. Ridiculous amount. I believe it's the highest price ever paid for a sports team in the United States. But it's only because it's the most recent. Whatever the next team is that sells will probably beat that one too, and that's where we are now. So $4.6 billion for the Denver Broncos. In 1998, when John Elway retired from the Denver Broncos. If you remember John Elway, he didn't he close it out with like 2 consecutive Super Bowls or whatever. What a way to go. What a way to end your career. Absolute icon up there in Denver. When John Elway retired from playing professional football in 1998, the Bowen family, who owns the Denver Broncos, they came to him and they said, look, you're the most important Bronco of all time. We need to make you somebody who is only associated with this franchise forever. So here's what we'd like to do for you, John. Now remember, this is 1998 upon John Elway's retirement. The Bowen family said to him, we've got an offer for you, John. We're going to offer you, John Elway, upon your retirement, we're going to offer you an opportunity to purchase 23% of the Denver Broncos. At the time, the Bowen family, they needed some money. They needed some quick cash. They said, John, because we love you, because you've been so important to this franchise, we are coming to you right now and we are going to sell you. We're going to offer you the opportunity to buy 23% of the Denver Broncos for $36 million. John, you're retiring. You give us $36 million. We give you 23, a quarter. We give you a quarter of this NFL team. Also, John, with that 23% of the Denver Broncos for $36 million that we're asking you for right now, should you take that deal, we will also grant you right of first refusal on the remaining 77% of the Denver Broncos. So years from now, if we ever decide that we want to sell, you will get first crack at raising the rest of the money. Before we can sell to anybody, you have to say, yeah, I don't want to buy it. So, then you can just cash out with your 23% of the team. If we decide to sell, this is 1998, John, we have no plans of selling. So that's the offer, John. We are going to be giving you 23% of the Denver Broncos. You are going to be an owner, and we're only going to charge you $36 million for it. Now, it should be noted, $36 million is a lot of money. It sounds like a lot of money, but it's like 1/10 of what 23% of the team would have been. The valuation at the time, I think, was like $2 billion. So you get 20% of the team for $36 million. 23% of the team at an evaluation of $2 billion. What is that? 500 million, right? Something like that, somewhere in there. So it should have cost you 500 million to get this chunk of the team. But John, you're important. We want you to be a part of this franchise. 36 million, an incredible friends and family discount. Or the other option is we'll just pay you $5 million and you can run the team. John Elway took the $5 million. John Elway in 1998 said, I'm just going to take the $5 million and cash it out. Last night, upon the closure of the sale of the Denver Broncos, if John Elway had taken the deal, instead of running away with the quick $5 million, I'll just take the cash in hand, $5 million. If John Elway had taken the deal of 23% of the team for $36 million, that $36 million in 1998 would have been worth $1.1 billion to John Elway today. Womp womp. Not only that, but he would have also had the opportunity to swoop in front of the Walmart people with his own financing as someone who already had 23% of the team, and he'd have been an NFL owner. He'd have been able to own the team outright, at which point his net worth would have been tied to the team, and he'd be worth $4.6 billion or whatever it is. Could you imagine? I mean, do you think John Elway got drunk last night? Do you think he went, holy shit, I could be on top of all the money that I have now? I'm John Elway. I'm already a rich guy. In golf, I got a few money. I can do whatever I want. But on top of that, let's put another $1.1 billion. Oh my God. He took the $5 million. So, hey, John, bird in the hand, I guess. How crazy is that? Could you imagine? Would that drive you insane? Knowing that if in 1998 you had just taken the deal instead of taking the quick money, cash in hand, if you'd have taken the deal as an owner of the team, that would be worth, for $36 million in 1998, it would be worth over $1 billion in today's money after the sale of the team. Good Lord. Drew Brees, another quarterback. Drew Brees is also trending. Drew Brees is trending because he has officially left NBC. Drew Brees was the experiment that didn't work. Drew Brees, upon retirement from the New Orleans Saints in his Hall of Fame career, he jumped over to NBC Sports. He wanted to be Tony Romo, wanted to get some of that Tony Romo money. Turns out Drew Brees is a drip. Drew Brees sucked. Nobody liked him. He was boring. He had no opinions. He was not interesting. He was one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Terrible on camera, terrible as far as personality goes, just an absolute drip. So it is now official. Drew Brees has left NBC Sports. He's claiming over a lifestyle choice. He is going to, he didn't like having to work 1 day a week. Come on, man. It's a lifestyle thing. It's, let me tell you where I think this is going. Ryan Fitzpatrick just announced that he's retiring from the NFL. Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to get a job, and NBC might be the opening that Ryan Fitzpatrick wants. Ryan Fitzmagic will be awesome. Ryan Fitzpatrick, and we talked about this when we announced his retiring a couple of days ago. Ryan Fitzpatrick is funny as hell. Ryan Fitzpatrick is not only funny as hell, he is quick and he's brilliant. He is super smart. He's the Harvard quarterback. He's the Ivy League kid. He is super smart, super funny, wildly likable. Ryan Fitzpatrick sucked as a quarterback. I mean, he had his moments, right? The Fitzmagic thing. He had his moments. He had his flare-ups where it was like, holy shit, this guy's actually having a game here. But for the bulk of his career, he was a backup quarterback at best, right? He was Ryan Fitzpatrick. He wasn't great. He wasn't a star. But people love him, and his name is known. Everybody knows anybody who watches NFL football knows who Ryan Fitzpatrick is. He's probably the most famous mediocre quarterback in the history of the NFL. And he's funny, and he's smart. People adore him, and he's a quarterback. So he sees the game in a different way. You know what I mean? He's going to be perfect for being an analyst, especially with his ability to articulate and to make his articulations interesting. I think Drew Brees out, NBC. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick might be the announcement that we'll see. Let's keep our eye on that, because that is absolutely a no-brainer. If I am running NBC and we just got rid of that drip Drew Brees, I'd be like, call Fitz. Call Fitz right now. Let's get him in here. Let's go to lunch with Fitz. I'm telling you, you're going to love this guy. He's hysterical. He's smart. He's quick. He knows the game inside and out. People love him. Yeah, so there it is. Drew Brees is out at NBC. Britney Spears is trending. Oh, God. Here we go, folks. Britney Spears is getting married today. What is it? 1:42. She might already be married. I don't know. She might already be married. Who knows? She's married that Sam Asghari, Sam Asghari. I don't know. She's marrying him. She's 40. He's 28. Her family ain't going to be there. I guess they're going down to the courthouse. Hey, Britney, this is what you wanted, right, girl? You got your freedom, and now you got some dude who, this doesn't last. You're in California. Getting married in California? What are you doing? Go get married in Louisiana. Equal property laws in California. He's going to leave you, or you guys are going to break up, or something crazy is going to happen. Because Brittany, let's be honest, you're a little bit, you're a little volatile. I'll leave it at that. You're a little volatile. Something's going to happen, and you're going to give him every justification to sue you for divorce because you're going to do something. And he's going to leave with half your money, Brittany. You're worth like $200 million. This dude is going to walk out. Go, just, you know what? Just look at Federline. Look at the life you have provided for Federline. Oh, Brittany, she's 40. Is she going to have kids? Is he going to knock her up? Is he going to put one in her? As they say, I don't know. But if he does, you can just ring that cash register even more. Federline is sitting pretty for the rest of his life because he's co-raising a couple of Britney Spears babies. He's driving around in a Lamborghini. He's living in a 10,000 square foot house. Kevin Federline. Brittany, mazel tov, girl. I hope it works out. I hope we're all wrong. I hope we're all just cynical. I hope that you and Sam have a lovely life together. I don't know, girl. I do not go. All right, so let's wrap this up with the last thing. I told you I got to get out of here early today. Kojak says, maybe this marriage will last longer than the first. Maybe. I mean, how difficult is that, though? No. Kojak, this is her third marriage. Remember, she was married to that dude, Jason Alexander, for 24 hours. She was married to some dude for 24 hours, and then they got that annulled because the family went, you can't get married. She was married to Jason Alexander for 24 hours. Then I think she got knocked up by Federline, and she ended up being married to Federline for a little bit. I don't know how long Federline and Brittany were married, but then that all went to shit, and now she's getting married again at the age of 40. So this is her third marriage. I guess I don't know how long Brittany and Federline were married. I don't even know that they were married. Maybe, I mean, we know there's kids, and we know that that's why he's living the high life, because he put a couple kids in her. He's got a couple of Britney babies. But I don't know. Anyway, Diet Coke is trending. Diet Coke. Do you like Diet Coke? I'm a Coke Zero guy. I don't know that I can honestly say that if you put a Diet Coke in front of me and a Coke Zero in front of me, I don't know that I'd tell the difference. I don't know. I just know that I like Coke Zero. I buy Coke Zero. I like the packaging. I like the black label. I don't know. It looks cool. I don't know. And it's good. It's good. I love Coke Zero. Coke Zero is really good. So, however, Coke Zero is not the highest selling soft drink in the world. That's Diet Coke. Diet Coke is the highest selling soft drink in the world. Not regular Coke. Regular Coke is like not even the third or fourth highest selling Coca-Cola product. It used to be full leaded Coca-Cola, full sugar Coca-Cola used to be the number one soft drink in the world, but now it's like number 4 or something like that. I think even Diet Pepsi might be ahead of regular Coke. At any rate, Diet Coke is the number one selling soft drink in the world, and it's trending today. And I don't know how I fell into this thread, but I just started reading some of these things. First of all, no, Diet Coke didn't die. No, Diet Coke is not being canceled. No, we're not boycotting Diet Coke for something. Diet Coke is just trending for, I don't know why. I can't figure out why it's trending, but it is. And there are some funny Diet Coke tweets that are in the Diet Coke Diet Coke trend thread. Trend thread. There you go. So here, I wanted to share some of them with you. Okay, so here's the first one. These are all tweets that are people making with the hashtag Diet Coke today for some reason. This dude says, I used to drink tons of Diet Coke, but it's been 1 month since I've had to drop it. I would like to share some of the changes that I've observed in myself over the time since quitting Diet Coke. My health is completely unchanged. I am extremely less happy, and my one and only source of joy is completely gone. Thank you for encouraging me on this journey. He goes, dude quit Diet Coke, and he's miserable. 2, Diet Coke is trending, and all I'll say, Diet Coke is trending, and all I'll say is, as a Southerner, everyone I've known who drank Diet Coke every day of their lives lived to be over 95. These are all Diet Coke appreciation tweets. My 6-month-old used to drink tons of formula, but it's been 1 month for her exclusively on Diet Coke. I want to share some changes I've observed in her over this time. She started walking, she has a full set of teeth, and she's now running a hedge fund. Thanks for encouraging us on this journey. That's good. If you ask every woman over the age of 100 what their secret to living a long life is, they indubitably say Diet Coke and being single. That is just a fact. Okay, here's another one. Remembering the time when I gave up Diet Coke for barely 2 weeks and shifted to fresh juices and got jaundiced in the second week. Never again. I'm back on Coke. Saw Diet Coke trending and went into a panic thinking someone was going to tell me I needed to boycott them. Yeah, that's what a lot of these are about. Oh, thank God. Thank God I don't have to. Thank God they're not in cahoots with the Chinese or the Saudi Golf League or whatever. Went to a small housewarming tonight and showed up with one Diet Coke just for myself. Then all night long, people kept asking me, hey, where's the Diet Cokes? I had to keep telling them, no, I stopped on the way here. I got this one only for myself. That's actually kind of funny. You just walk into a party with like a Diet Coke and then just see how many people are like, hey, where'd you get the Diet Coke from? Where'd you get that from? Can I get one of those? I would like one of those. Here's another one. I see Diet Coke is trending, and I'd like to remind you all about the traumatic time my husband brought home some Diet Pepsi instead, and I almost had to go get a new husband. No bond is stronger than a white woman and her Diet Coke. And the last one that I will share with you, Diet Coke, making people feel better about ordering 2 Big Macs and a large fry since 1982. All right, I don't know why Diet Coke is trending, but it is trending, and we're just going to have to all get over it. All right, folks, that's it. I got to get out of here. Like I said, I got a lot of stuff to do tonight. It is a maybe so, maybe not kind of situation as far as tonight's Pillow Talk. Well, we're definitely not going to do a Pillow Talk. I need to let Parker know that. We're not going to do a Pillow Talk, but maybe we'll do something. Maybe I don't know. I'm thinking maybe. I don't know. I have got my poetry. I have got my song. Support the show if you can, folks. We really appreciate it. We do 5 shows a week. Every day at noon. Trending topics, hot topics, current events, pop culture, all that kind of stuff. Well, if you've been with us for the last 4 minutes, few hours, this is what we do. Every day at noon, the High Noon Show. You can support the show by going to Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, whatever it is. I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. As I like to say, treat me like your bartender, treat me like your barista. We're just looking for tips. Drop them in, make our day, make it just a little bit easier for us to continue on this road of independent media production. We also do the Pillow Talk Show. That's every night at 9 p.m. Not every night, but Monday through Thursday. Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk here on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. So, we're doing stuff. We're cranking out the content, and we exist because of your gratuities and your kindnesses. So thank you all so very much for that. You've all been so wonderful these past few months. Coming up on a year, we are not far away from celebrating our 1-year anniversary of doing this. I bet that Ed, who's in charge of this whole thing, never in a million years thought that I would do this every day for a year. I bet you that Ed was just rolling his eyes when he said, fine, we'll build you the studio later, Kenny. Fine, we'll build you the studio in the guest house. Whatever. Buy the equipment. Even when you stop doing it after a couple of weeks, at least I'll have the equipment. Nobody thought we'd go, and I love doing it. I have no intention of stopping. No matter what else happens, regardless of any other media things that I have that may or may not be bubbling over. We'll see. I have no intention of stopping doing this. Should I ever sign a contract to do any kind of a media offering, it will have a carve out that says that I can still do these. Still do these on Radio Misfits. Not that that's a thing, but what I'm saying is, I appreciate you allowing me this free form to do what I like to do every single day. All right, folks. Love you. Talk tomorrow for sure, for absolute certainty. We're back tomorrow at noon for high noon. And, follow the show, subscribe to the show on YouTube. We may pop in because we do that from time to time. We pop in when breaking news warrants. We do special streams. I'm just saying tonight, like after 10 o'clock or so, it might, maybe, don't, I don't know. We will see. All right, folks, be well. Appreciate you. Have a great day.